The Canon 80D is one of the best DSLRs that has ever been made. It was launched back in March 2016 and up till this day a lot of people, including me, still use it. So the question is, should you consider this camera in 2021? Today we're gonna find out. What is going on everyone, I'm Red and I make video editing, filmmaking tutorials and everything in between. So if you guys are into that sort of stuff, please consider subscribing and hit that like button down below. Now, starting off with the build quality. The build quality for the Canon 80D is superb. The durability of a DSLR is unmatched. These things are built like tanks. Unlike mirrorless cameras, you know that they can take a hit or two, which can give you a little more extra confidence when you're shooting outside or in the wilderness or whatever, and you know that your camera can take a hit or two. Personally, I've shot with the Canon 80D in all weather conditions, whether it's freezing in the winter or it's super hot in the summer. The camera has held up pretty good and I have no complaints about the build quality at all. Moving on to the autofocus. The Canon 80D has Canon's extraordinary dual pixel autofocus, which is fast, accurate and reliable. It does have face detection, no eye detection, which is a newer technology in newer cameras, but I'm using the face detection right now and it's working pretty well. As you can see, it is very accurate, fast and reliable. Okay, so moving on to some autofocus testing. I'm gonna be using the touchscreen to manually set the focus from near to far. Now moving on to image quality. The Canon 80D has a 24.2 megapixel APS-C sensor that produces sharp images, good enough for printing and plenty well good enough for social media. Color-wise, I love Canon's color science. 24 megapixels, like I said, is plenty enough for social media. I'll show you some examples of the pictures that I've taken with the camera right now. Now moving on to video, probably the most important aspect for me at least. For video, the Canon 80D maxes out at 1080p 60 frames per second. There is no 4K unfortunately, but if you think about it, this camera was launched in 2016. The video quality is not bad by any means. The 1080p 24 that comes out of this camera is actually very crisp and sharp. It does lack a bit in terms of dynamic range. I would describe the dynamic range as okay. It is not good, it's not great, but it's not that bad. Personally, I would recommend shooting at either golden hour or in a controlled environment, because when you go out in harsh light to shoot with the Canon 80D, you're definitely gonna clip your highlights or you're just gonna crush your shadows. Now let's talk about the lenses that I use with this camera. Mainly 90% of the time I have my Sigma 18-35, which is what I'm recording with right now. I do have a Canon 50mm f1.8, which I use occasionally for close-up or detailed shots, especially at wedding ceremonies or whatever, but mostly the lens that never leaves my camera is the Sigma 18-35. And let's talk about features. The Canon 80D is packed with those. It has a swivel LCD touchscreen, it has face detection. Even when you're recording up to 60 frames per second, you get a swivel LCD touchscreen, which is really great for vlogging, and you get a mic and a headphone output for real-time audio monitoring. The Canon 80D supports Wi-Fi as well, for if you want to transfer your files using Wi-Fi to your phone, and you can also download the Camera Connect app for remote shooting using your phone. So I've been mostly talking about the positive things for the Canon 80D. No camera is perfect, so let's get to the cons. For video, it can only shoot up to 1080p 60 frames per second. There is no 4K, not even if you crop, and the dynamic range is mediocre at best. The body is a little bit heavy as it is a DSLR, not a mirrorless camera. The body may feel dated for some people, considering this camera was released in 2016. Because it was released in 2016, it does lack some of the newer technology, such as eye focus detection and so on. So to conclude this video, who's this camera for? The Canon 80D is an excellent camera for stills, it is great for video, it is a very beginner friendly camera, the interface is relatively easy to use. If you're looking for a new camera that is good and it's not gonna break the bank, this is the camera for you. But if you're looking for a more professional camera, especially in terms of video, I would personally skip this and maybe go for something like the 90D or even one of the high-end mirrorless cameras. So I hope that this video has helped you in some way. If it did, leave a like down below, consider subscribing for future uploads, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.